Morning, everybody. Feeling pretty smashed today. And then look at this. Everything in my world is inverted, and then I come online and my green screen and my shirt have inverted and my background is now. So I'm just gonna get the live working here. Beautiful. Okay. I find it kind of hilarious to see that. I've never had that happen before, but it's kind of showing how fucked up the matrix is and how inverted it is today, at least for me. Hopefully you're seeing all this. My computer seems like it's running really, really slow. And look at me, I am the sky. I'm feeling pretty smashed right now. A crazy ass interaction with a woman that is typical of some of the interactions that I have lately, but somebody I resonated with deeply. I had an experience where we were exchanging deeply, and we're talking about sacred sexuality and communications and all this kind of stuff. And suddenly, as we're talking, I felt called to share something that I powerful, the piece of what she considers pornography, but something that was very showing of a really deep, powerful woman experience in her sexuality. And I was very careful with how I phrased it. And I said, hey, is this something that would be of interest? It was interesting to me. And she says, well, normally, most of the time, that makes me very uncomfortable for men, but the way that you proposed it, and I said, well, you can take it or leave it. It doesn't matter to me if you take it. But she said yes. And it was an enthusiastic yes. And then I even waited until the end of the conversation and checked again, just to make sure that she wanted to see it. And she said yes. And I trusted that, which is really important to me. And I was excited by it. It was like, holy shit, here she's stepping out of her comfort zone and whatever. Well, give it a day. And it was yesterday now. Yesterday? No, 2 days ago. And give it a day. And then she sends this really convoluted email back to the link that I sent her that said, to be honest, I wasn't okay with this. And then some big thing about how sacred sexuality is and all this kind of stuff, but not taking any accountability, making some statement on what I'd sent her was outside of her comfort zone. But she said yes. She said she wanted it. And I'm like, okay. And then it turned into this big thing. I said, okay, this feels like you're communicating. I texted back and says, you're communicating in some unintegral way. You're saying some statement to me. Why didn't you just say you changed your mind? And she believes she changed her mind. But it's like, no, to be honest means that you've been lying. And the statements around how she didn't say she changed her mind. She just said she was never okay with it in the first place. But she said yes. And I'm like, okay, I'm really confused here. And then so I responded. I said, this hurt and it felt unintegral and I feel kind of unsafe now. Can I trust your yes? And you basically said to be honest, which means you're not being honest. So I questioned her on that. And then it turned into all this vitriol and I knew I'd hit some kind of trigger and I've yet to figure out what the trigger is. And it turned into a question of all the things that I am, my integrity, etc. And yes, Peggy, that's the statement that I have. And that's exactly what I'm shining right now. I'm saying what I felt, the projection that came upon me. And I responded. And I was really integral and I ate my trigger and sat in the energy and gave 24 hours to respond and said, I don't know what you're trying to say there, Piggy, but that I'm gossiping. No, this is my fucking experience. And if you don't want to be part of my experience, go to a different live. I'm not gossiping. I'm speaking of something that happened. And it hurt and it stung. Can I trust somebody that says yes and then comes back and says in a twisted way that they're not a yes? And so I sat with that. And I radiated unconditional love. I do that in everything that I do, to even make that offer and to be from such innocence. And then all of a sudden something came back that was dark and uncomfortable and triggered. And I do that. It's not fun. I sit there and I shine light into things. I trigger people. I knew that it might trigger her. Her guides were telling me, say this thing, and it created some trigger and it created an experience that created a whole bunch of energy in me. And in response, I tried to be loving. I tried to say, this is what I felt when I heard this, etc. And I'm always kind, Piggy. I don't know what you're trying to say. I'm always light. I'm reflecting something that's very hard and has me triggered. And yeah, it's me loving to speak about it and to ask why, and to not know why, and to kind of be smashed open by this integrity that I'm giving back, and then just getting an attack back saying, I just love people that jump on your lives and give you a whole bunch of advice. And anyways, so I don't even know what she's talking about, but obviously the women in this world right now are trying to poke and tell me to reflect on myself. And it kind of makes me want to vomit, because what was I unkind in? What did I say that was saying anything bad about the person involved? I had an experience that fucking trashed me. It tore my heart out. I love this person. I wanted to move forward, and she couldn't even communicate. And I tried to communicate back and she twisted it all around. You're attacking me. No, I'm like, fuck, when you said these things, why did you even say them? Why did you send me an email? If you were not okay with what you did, fucking own it. Don't project it back at me and say I did something that made you uncomfortable. You said yes. You said yes. How can I trust you again if you're not a yes? And to be honest, I don't always say the truth, is what she said. Well, how am I supposed to receive that? That was her communicating to me. And then I'm like, I did something wrong, to reflect back and say, okay, well, what are you saying about what I did then? That I triggered you and now you can move forward and you can understand it? Or then she got even worse. Every word I'd say would go into some mixed up way. I even had another woman read it, what I said and what was exchanged, just to see if I was really insane or not. And she's like, where did she get that? Where did she get this? You said this loving thing and you said this. And I'm just like, what the fuck? And it just smashes me. So many of my interactions with women, and I'm not blaming them, it comes from women in some uncertainty or whatever that's going on. But I open wide and I love, and we have this deep connection and this reverence and all this kind of stuff. And then all of a sudden, anything that's triggering, I somehow get projected all their man stuff on me. And I don't know what to do about that. I don't know what's going on, other than I'm loving and I'm open, and I open my field and open my heart. And then I get this in the forehead afterwards. And I'm tired of laying down and sitting in the corner and crying about it and feeling like there's something wrong with me, because there isn't. And how do I have this experience with women and not care and not be able to hold space and reflect? But she didn't want any of that. She just kept bashing back that she said she was deeply communicating and her truth was out there. And And she did, it was all in her head. She had never said the words. Oh, there we go. We're back to uninverted. I can change it. I got magic. That's how magic I am today. So I don't know what to do with that. How do I step forward again? I do radiate pure unconditional love, and whatever the fuck Peggy thinks she's seeing, or some distortion in my field, or whatever, like, fucking man up and have a conversation. Don't jump in the middle of a live and start poking at people. I'm not sure how I can trust women anymore with shit like this going on. And I apologize if you're a woman and you think that I'm somehow projecting, but I don't know. Give my all, and I fucking open my heart and give to people I love. And then they fucking go insane. They fucking go insane. It's like, now I trust you enough to share my trauma or whatever, and then they project it without communicating and then fucking make it mine. And I'm fucking tired and pissed. And I don't know what to do about it. I love women with all my heart, and I love all my experiences with women, but fuck, and they just smash me wide open all the time. And they don't want to take any accountability to the energies they bring, the traumas, the triggers that they project. And I try and reflect for them, and all I get is smashed. And yeah, maybe that's a reflection of me or whatever, but this experience has happened more times than I can count. And I keep stepping forward and loving women and not knowing why the projection comes, why this collective weird hate, whatever, of men or whatever. Maybe I'm feeling the collective. I don't know, but I fucking firmly deserve to have better experiences. Because this isn't love. I love, and I write the hardest fucking emails to write, where I remove my projection and release the energy and speak lovingly and look through it and try and reflect as purely as I can, radiating that pure unconditional love that I do. And then they read it and they respond, and they're angry, and they're bitter about being held accountable for what was said, what happened, and expect me just to pretend that they didn't say something, or that it was said in some other way than it actually was. I even broke down in logic the words that were said and what they mean in their dictionary meaning. But I was expected to know what was underneath, expected to know what their pain was, expected to know somehow that this pain wasn't projected at me. It was just generally projected. And I don't know how to deal with that. I'll speak all day if you want to be vulnerable and you want to come and say what's going on in your head, but I can't deal with a story that's not being said. And the projection and the anger and the trauma and stuff that comes out when I reflect on it. I say, okay, this is what I'm feeling. Why are you feeling that? Oh, I can't participate. I feel really judged by what Peggy chose to do at the start of this live. I'm going to forgive it, but I see it happening all the time. Women want a space held bigger for them than they're willing to give to us. And I'm fucking tired of it. I'm fucking not going to put up with it anymore. It's either got to be equal or somebody's getting used, and I'm tired of being used. And yeah, this is ugly and gritty, and maybe it turns some women away or whatever. I fucking love women. I fucking love women, but I do not understand them. I don't know what games are being played, and it destroys me. and I'm reflecting it out so that people can see it. And it's not all my inner work. I've done my work. I've done lots of work, and I'm still doing my work, and I'm willing to do my work. This is not fucking everybody's bad. This is fucking, why does this happen? So we can get a dialogue, so we can get starting to get open and moving forward. Really, really sad today. All because I love somebody and they weren't prepared to be integral, to be accountable to what they sent at me, or to even communicate about it. And I'm tired of that. And I don't deserve that. If you want to come into my life and just make me the dumping pot, then fuck off. Thank you for listening. My rawness in its truth. And if it's ugly and messy, that's part of the awakening process. And I'm being as real as I can right now and holding my own self-responsibility as much as I can, but I don't know why. And it's sad. Maybe it's just the whole world is demented. So I love you all. I thank you. Thank you for listening. Sorry for my fucked up in this. I don't know what else to call it. Have a great day. Yeah, it's just so crazy to watch people just going in and out of the live. They can't really handle viewing a person in his realness. So I love you. Thank you. I love me. Have a good day. Thank you for watching. Thank you for seeing me.